Today, the Bagi Babur is a green refuge from the daily stress of poverty, rapid growth, and conflict. But it was not always a refuge. When the Aga Khan Trust for Culture began surveying the garden in 2002, 25 years of conflict had left little of what had once captivated Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, who yearned to be returned to his favorite garden in Kabul upon his death. The challenge was to recreate the garden, but it took considerable investment and 6 years of hard work. The revival of the Bagi Babur is just one part of the Aga Khan Development Network's wider development program for Afghanistan, a program that integrates cultural projects with education, healthcare, microfinance, economic development, and rural development. The Ekidin has contributed hundreds of millions of its own funds and mobilized over $1 billion from donors for the reconstruction of Afghanistan. As part of that effort, the Aga Khan Trust for Culture has been working to improve living conditions in a number of Afghan cities. To date, it has restored over 150 monuments, landmark buildings, and historic houses. Part of those efforts include Bagi Babur, but they also encompass what's left of Kabul's war-ravaged historical city, where the Trust has improved drainage, alleyway paving, and living conditions. It has also generated employment among some of the most marginal and impoverished communities in the city. Another large project has been the preservation of the 19th century mausoleum of Timur Shah, now an oasis of calm in the very busiest part of the city. Religious shrines that have been conserved include Ashikan wa Arafan, a popular place of pilgrimage for women, and the Charda Masoon shrine in the old musician's quarter. The process of reconstruction not only provides work, but also training for skilled craftsmen. 60 owners have been given grants to repair their traditional houses. Other projects in Kabul include the rehabilitation of Chihil Stoon Palace and Garden and the restoration of Store Palace, among others. The Aga Khan Trust has been active across the country in Herat, where a different sort of problem is threatening the fragile historic old city. The problem is newfound wealth rather than poverty. A brash obsession with glass facades that flout local planning controls puts intense pressure on the survival of the city's cultural fabric. To save this heritage, the Aga Khan Trust has invested in building conservation that improved the living conditions of 60,000 people in the old city. The old Silk Bazaar was restored. Once again, it is part of the local economy. Historic cities were returned to the owners after restoration, many of them adorned by the work of a new generation of craftspeople. Several community mosques and 3 historic water cisterns were preserved, one of them the largest in Afghanistan, and converted into local community centers. Other projects include the Citadel of Herat, and the Gozorga Shrine, a 15th century Timurid complex that holds the grave of Khwaja Abdullah Ansari, the renowned mystical poet, and one of Afghanistan's most important places of pilgrimage. Other projects were completed in Bak and Badakhshan. In Bak, the 16th century shrine of Abu Nasir Khwaja Pasha and a complex of historic structures were restored. And the No Gunbad Mosque, believed to be the oldest and most important early Islamic era building in Afghanistan, and possibly in the wider region, was made structurally sound and restored. In Badakhshan, projects include a number of projects. In the Aga Khan Trust's experience, culture can be an asset rather than a liability, one that can be leveraged by the Afghan people to improve their lives. Painstaking conservation continues here with the hope that Afghans can reap the benefits while taking pride in their rich cultural heritage.
تشکر از آمدنتان. خانه ما توسط بنیاد کلتوری آقاخان بازسازی شده، چون که در اثر جنگ‌ها تخریب شده بود و از جمله خانه هایی که به حساب بازسازی شده خانه کاکا امین، خانه جیلان، رامبو، خانه کاکا شکور و همچنان مساجد و زیارت ها می باشه که با بازسازی هزی سطح زندگی ما خوبتر شده، چون سابق تخریب شده بود و همچنان فعلا سهولت های ما مثلا کوچای ما درست شده، بازسازی شده، سرکای ما و همچنان خانه ما که ما زیاد خوش و راضی هستیم از اینکه به حساب از اینکه خانه ما بازسازی و از حالت تخریب شدن و ویران شدن درست شد.